Schaefer, and I'll have my co-host introduce himself.
I'm Ford Griffith, the assistant sports editor.
Iowa State just came off 2 straight losses against unranked teams, most recently against Colorado, where they played for the first time since 2010, and they lost 24-17. Colorado stormed the field and was fined $50,000, which was insane and really disappointing to see, but yeah.
Yeah, well, one thing that I took away from that, although obviously a loss is not what you want to see, is the fact that 2 straight teams stormed the field against Iowa State, which, if that happened in 2010, I'd call you crazy, man. But that's just like the new era of Iowa State football. They're just better, and they expect to be ranked and have those high energy and high expectation seasons. So honestly, like, it's a good thing that 2 straight teams have stormed the field. Obviously bad that they lost, but
Yeah, and it's honestly kind of embarrassing to watch as a Cyclone fan. You know, you go into those games thinking you're going to win, thinking it's going to be easy. No.
yeah.
Colorado definitely came out to play. Their defense was absolutely incredible, made key plays, had an interception, had a 4th down stop. Specifically, I want to talk about their quarterback, Kayde and Ford, who tossed 2 touchdown passes, threw for 255 yards, and one of which was a 70-yard touchdown strike, which was actually incredible, and then had another one late in the game for 38 yards. He was actually on fire, made Rocco look bad. Really embarrassing.
Yeah, Salter was really good, and that's 2 straight weeks, first one being against Cincinnati, and then against Colorado, where the Cyclones have the other team on like a 3rd down, looking to gain some momentum, and then they throw a 70-yard touchdown. Like, they threw, I think it was an 80-yard touchdown against Cincinnati, and then now a 70-yard touchdown against Colorado. You just can't let up those big plays and expect to win. It's just not going to work.
Yeah. I thought nobody on the Cyclones really stood out to me personally. I think Abu Sama, definitely seen him improve. He has his games, he has his moments. This one was one of his games. He ran for 177 yards and had 2 touchdowns, which really helped the team, really led the team. But everything else just kind of didn't do so great. Like, Rocco wasn't really on his pedestal that he usually is at. We had 2 fumbles, and we had so many penalties. We gathered 7 penalties against Colorado, which is so uncharacteristic, and has been, as we are one of the teams that has the least penalties in the nation. So it just the whole game just felt uncharacteristic, and I feel like a lot of that could come because we had so many people out and we were doing different things, but it was just not a great game to watch.
Yeah. The way that I've kind of viewed it or looked at it is, like, it felt like the whole time Iowa State should have won, but it never felt like they were going to win. Because they, Rocco didn't do anything to, make me think that they were going to end up winning. Abu, yeah, he had a great game. Averaged 7 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns. That was his best game this season by far, with Carson Hansen being out. But it just never really felt like anything was that positive or going all that well. It just never felt like they were going to take the lead and win.
Yeah, no. One thing that really stood out to me, though, which I thought was really cool, was Chase Smith, our kicker. He limped off the field and was hurt. I want to say it was a hamstring tear.
I think so.
Don't know for sure. But we had our redshirt freshman O-lineman, Carson Rhodes. And he successfully did the next kickoff, which was so interesting, and he did so well. But he apparently played soccer in high school, so he was kind of the runner-up. He was, I think this was maybe his first time on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Probably. So that was probably one of the highlights. Just cool to see that we had kind of a backup. Like, last resort, we had somebody who could perform, which was great.
Yeah, I think he's technically listed as the 4th string kicker. Seeing a big guy like that, I think he's 6'8", 310 pounds. Seeing him go out there to kick the ball is not something you see every day, and it was kind of funny seeing that posted on SportsCenter and ESPN, whatever else. Just just a big guy going out to do the kickoff, and didn't get super far, but for him to actually go out and do that is pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm. And then we also had Benjamin Bramer, who had 56 receiving yards, the highest on the team. Not his usual best. Nobody was up to their usual standards last game, but, still got to put that out there. Then we had Tashawn James, who led our defense, I believe, with 8 tackles, 5 of which were solo, which was very impressive for him. I feel like he was kind of another person that stood out to me during the game in all of our dark moments.
Yeah. I mean, he was flying around. It's usually Marcus Neal. He still had 6 tackles, but Tashawn James, he's really stepped up with the absence of Jeremiah Cooper and John Tez Williams. So that's good to see him and the other defensive backs stepping up. But once again, Caden Salter and a mobile quarterback was tough on the defense. He had, obviously, like you mentioned, he had 255 passing yards, but he also had 57 rushing yards on 9 carries with a long of 24. So the defense still, with that three defensive linemen set, has a tough time containing quarterbacks and their running.
Yeah. For Colorado, too, we also had Joseph Williams, who had 1 touchdown, 8 catches for 128 receiving yards. And then we had Omarion Miller, who also had a touchdown. Those guys were just really cool to see. I didn't necessarily have my doubts going into the game about this team, but I thought they really impressed and they really well prepared, and just the whole team just did so well, especially our quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, for a team that came into the game at 2-4, they really performed much higher than their standards, and they're probably a pretty good 3-4 team, honestly. Obviously, losing record, but I think the way that they played against Iowa State, it was pretty impressive. Well, should we go into BYU?
So the Cyclones did have a bye week, which I thought was very much needed.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very much so.
Definitely.
Really, because we have so many people out, specifically on injuries. But looking ahead towards BYU, which we will play on Saturday, October 25th at 2:30 p.m., and you can watch it on Fox. This will be our homecoming game. And there are a couple people who are hoping to make a return, such as our star kicker, Kyle Conradi, Carson Hansen, who got a concussion during the loss to Cincinnati, and then Dominique Orange, hopefully. I'm hoping. He hurt his ankle against Colorado, but he has been practicing, so hoping to see him. Chase Smith, maybe, depending on...
Hopefully Conradi's back,
yeah,
so we'll see.
That'll be iffy. And then I don't know how to pronounce his name, but Kayjon Cummings-Coleman. Yes. Yep. We'll see what happens with him. I know he's been practicing and getting better, but we'll see what happens. But BYU, looking for them, they are ranked number 11, and I was looking at their stats, and it's actually insane, and it's really intimidating. So they have a quarterback named Bear, which is frightening itself, and Bear Bachmeier, he is the 8th highest passer rate in the conference, is 15th in the Big 12 for rushing yards, and is tied for most rushing touchdowns in the conference. That says a lot for just itself.
And him being a true freshman makes it even scarier, not even just for this game, but for years to come. He's been really impressive as a freshman. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, looking at some of his games, obviously Portland State, not a great team, but he had 3 touchdowns passing, 2 rushing. That's 5 total touchdowns. So, I mean, really impressive there. And then he's just been solid against all the Big 12 teams he's faced. I mean, against West Virginia, he had 351 passing yards, touchdown in the air, and a touchdown on the ground. He can do it all, and it'll be tough for the defense to contain him, especially if Dominique Orange can't play.
Mm-hmm. I would also like to shine a spotlight on their running back, LJ Martin. He has the Big 12 best of 774 rushing yards, and he averages 110.6 yards per game. Again, insane. Makes me second guess the Cyclones' confidence going in, but, that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's just weird considering that the Cyclones are technically like favored according to Vegas, because this BYU team is definitely for real. I mean, their quarterback Bachmeier, L.J. Martin, they're both just super talented, and they have three players that have over 200 receiving yards, including Chase Roberts. He has 24 catches for 463 yards, averaging 19 yards a catch. I mean, it's just, you can go down the list, and there's people that can damage the Cyclones.
Yeah, and then specifically their O-line, which heavily relies on rushing attacks, has up to 232.9 rushing yards per game. It is marked 10th overall in the nation. The team overall is undefeated. The last matchup against BYU was in 2023, and we won actually 45-13. Looking kind of back at all the games, there's a pretty big, decent score gap, I guess, which is interesting. But we've only played 5 games against BYU, and we have won all of them. But that was, I think, before they've had this dominant of a team.
Yeah, I think this is the game that we expected to see against Arizona State, because Arizona State at the start of the year was ranked 11th, but it's coming a week earlier against BYU, and yeah, this is not the same BYU team that the Cyclones faced in 2023, and I just think that, I mean, it just seems like it's set up to where the Cyclones can compete and be in the game, but I don't totally see a scenario where, like, the Cyclones can really control the game. I think BYU has the upper hand. I think a lot of it will come down to the crowd. Obviously, it's homecoming week, so the crowd will definitely play a factor. And then I think Rocco. Like, if Rocco can perform and be his usual self that we saw at the start of the year, I do think that the Cyclones can definitely have a shot.
Oh, absolutely. And Rocco, even after the Colorado loss, like, he took to the media and was like, "It's my fault. I'm so sorry. I let my team down." And I was like, that is so selfless, and just like, it's a team game, but he just kind of took all that on his back, and I know that's only going to make him better, even though he doesn't have to do that. Like, he's a great person. So I really think this is going to be a game where he shines. I definitely think we're going to have issues here and there. Honestly, we're probably going to walk out with a couple more injuries, but I think it'll be a really good game to watch.
Yeah, I think what you said about Rocco, him not having to do that, there's not a whole lot of quarterbacks in the country that would have the vulnerability to go out there in front of the media, get a little emotional and be like, this is on me, like, I got to be better, I haven't been good. And I think that's the kind of leader that Matt Campbell wants and the Cyclones want, so I think they got a solid guy leading them.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Iowa State will play BYU back on their home field of Jack Trice. The game will be at 2:30 p.m. on Saturday, October 25th. It is a homecoming game, and you can watch it on Fox. Thank you all for watching. Like, subscribe, share, and comment. We'll see you next week.
Adios.